Hey everyone, I have a very exciting show for you today. I have someone that I have watched from afar for months. I went out to a visit in Houston and saw him speak, and he was gracious enough to say yes to being hosted. And funny enough, he's actually coming out to Fresno in November, which we will get to at the end of this. So let's welcome Daniel Moore to the show. How you doing, Daniel?
Awesome, man. Thank you for that warm introduction. I still don't feel like I'm deserving of it, but I respect it. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So, Daniel, you are the CEO of Propelio, one of the original founders. Why don't you introduce to the people out there, like the three people in real estate that don't know what Propelio is? Why don't you just kind of highlight what it is now, and maybe if you don't mind, give us a little time warp and how it started and kind of how it evolved to what it is today, because it's very impressive.
Well, for those that don't know what Propelio is, I'm going to give you the background and then I'll bring you to where we're at today.
Perfect.
I was running a startup wholesaling business, a startup real estate investing business, and I was really trying to push to scale. And for those that are in the space now versus in the space 7 or 8 years ago, our technology has improved big time. There are a lot more options for technology in today's market space. But whenever I was in there, the market was slim in choices. So with that slim choice, I was in a mastermind with another real estate investor that was also a software engineer. And I approached him and I had him build some tools for my business. And through that initial conversation, it turned into, well, let's build this product and make it available to everybody since there is a need in the space for it.
Mhm.
And that's where we're at today. So Propelio is a software company that provides tools for real estate investors, predominantly focused on the acquisition side. We have nationwide lead lists. We have access to national MLS comps, even in non-disclosure states. We have turnkey lead capture websites. So if you do not have a presence on the internet and you're out there doing marketing and you're trying to, acquire your leads and someone Googles your company, and they can't find you on the internet, what they will find is your competitors. So we give those non-tech savvy people the ability to quickly punch in a website address and have their own website for their business. And last but not least, driving for dollars. So if you're out there driving for dollars, all of that is built into the Propelio platform, lead generation tools. And our goal is to just take that company and make it even better. So beyond just the software, many people know us from Propelio TV, Propelio Academy, our social media presence. One of the things that we have done is somewhat disrupted the flow of the industry by creating the Academy. The Academy is a very in-depth, it's not like a high-level review of basic strategies. We get into the deep weeds of real estate investing and the key pieces to putting those strategies in place. And we do it at a very high cost of free.
Yeah.
I say that. I
Yeah.
say that because it's real. Like
Yeah.
people that are getting it for free do not realize how much I had to pay. I had to pay. The instructor had to pay. We put 10 years of our lives into that information. We put our souls into learning and pivoting through markets that go up and down. And we've had to learn from boots on the ground. And we have seen the struggle that we endured, and we paid that back forward. So
Yeah.
it's free. It's free to the people that watch it, but it is not free to the people that presented it.
Yeah, there's no question. So there's a couple things I want to make sure we put some salt and pepper on. First off, the software, the company that really started Propelio. When did the company form? Right, it's been an evolution, and it's impressive where it is now. But it wasn't 7 seconds, right? It was several years and generations. So let's put some timelines on that.
Started in 2014.
Yeah.
Me and Nate Worcester, my co-founder, a very technically advanced individual, man. Like that guy is like the total opposite of me, and there's some solid benefits to that because
Yeah.
and with that said, like we clash. Like you
Yeah.
can't take two people that are that different and not butt heads, but we sharpen each other up. Like
For sure.
he has evolved as a person, I have evolved as a person, and through that iron sharpens iron mentality, we've both grown. But we started out as a DFW, Dallas Fort Worth based company. We really served no other market than Dallas Fort Worth. And over the next year, we began serving Houston, Austin, San Antonio, and then we kind of stuck in a regional model of let's prove that this process works. And we stayed in that regional process until about 2017. And in
Okay.
2017, we decided to pivot. Let's go national. And that's where we really started seeing the media come into play, the social media, the
Hmm.
YouTube channel, propelio.tv. Go check us out on YouTube if you haven't done so far. But through our desire to reach a national audience, we started getting really deep into social media. And that social media grew at a pace faster than any of us anticipated. So we ended up in a pivotal piece where we had a national audience, but we didn't have a national product. And we were getting a lot of people trying our product, but we could not serve them because our product was a regional product. So
Hmm.
we've pivoted back over the last 6 months. We've created a lot of national product, and we're really how would you say that? At the pivotal point of,
Yeah. Inflection point.
so there you go. I like being around smart people, man. I really do. But yeah, that's where we're at. So now that we're a national brand, everything
Yeah.
we've done up until now has been organic. I've got a solid 7-figure marketing budget for next year, and I am just going to triple down on everything we've done and take everything we've done and make it better.
There you go.
Goal, the goal behind Propelio is essentially we, not me. I mean, I really boil it down to we, not me, because so many companies out there, so many people out there, the sentiment of the United States, in my opinion, comes from a scarcity mindset. And the
Hmm.
scarcity mindset does revolve around me. And
Yeah.
I'd really like to shift that, at least from within this company and from within the people that we influence, shifting from we, not me.
Absolutely. And give the best example I can bring up to date on this in this interview is Propelio Academy, right? That's definitely a we, not me. That's definitely leaning forward, giving, and that's really the company takes on the characteristics of their founder and their CEO. So the credit goes to you. You probably don't want to take it because you'll give it to everybody else, but it does start somewhere. But let's talk about the idea for Propelio Academy, because it is impressive where it is today. But I can just imagine you sitting in a room, maybe yourself, maybe a couple other people, and just going, let's do this thing for free. And people looking at you cross-eyed, going, "What, are you kidding me?"
So yeah, man, like I don't think where people realize is how, and I'm going to give y'all some deep insights because I'm an open book, man. Like I'll talk about my past all day long. I'll talk about my future all day long because I believe in one and I've lived the other, and I'm not ashamed of either. So I am who I am today because of the things that have happened. And the Propelio Academy has honestly hurt this company in a lot of ways that people would never understand. Because we built the Propelio Academy, a lot of our traditional marketing channels are no longer available to us. The
Mm.
RAYAs that make their money off of info sales splits, the other people that are solely focused on info sales, that are kind of the gatekeepers to large communities,
Mhm.
absolutely will not speak about the Academy and or Propelio at all, because they see it as a how do you call that? They see it as a threat to their
Yeah.
norm.
Yes, there's threat
And,
to
and,
their livelihood. Yeah, of course.
and I guess I can understand that because when we created the academy, it was a timely blog post that I read at the time. And the blog post paraphrase said something along the lines of, the amount of effect that you change upon the world will be as great and equal to the amount of people that hate you. And
Oh, wow. Think
that
about
was a
that.
hard blog post for me to read, like, but I had to own it at that time. It's like, I am about to do something that's going to change this industry, and
Mhm.
my goal is to change the world in a lot of ways. And I could get deep in the weeds on that because of my past and where I've had to come from to get to where I'm at today.
Yep.
I understand what the other side of the struggle looks like. Like,
No.
I understand what it's like to be in elementary school, getting, guns put in your face, getting shot at, seeing people killed in elementary school, and then
Mhm.
living through and evolving through that life. I understand the other side of struggle, and I wanted to help a lot of people. That's where the academy came from. And one of the things that I have seen, so you asked the questions like, how do you sit in a room and talk about investing all of this money into something that's free?
Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head. Can we at least charge like a subscription cost, like a
Yeah.
monthly subscription? Maybe it doesn't have to be 50 grand, but can we charge, $50 or $100
Yeah.
or something like that? And I'm like, no, man, like, just do it. Just do it, do it, do it. And I promise you. So I've got several equity partners that are invested with me on this company. This company was by no means Daniel Moore. This company was a culmination of like-minded individuals that all saw the same goal.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, it was like, hey, can I take this $300,000 and dump it into a studio, dump it into staffing, dump it into a free product? And they're like, you've got this much of a timeline to make sure that works. If you don't, your noose is getting tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
So, like,
Daniel, what are we doing? Yeah.
yeah, yes. One of the things on that side was, I am not an expert at timing. Like,
Okay.
I am learning far better now that, like, I'm a bulldozer. Like, I will just go. Like, you cannot hold me back. You could put a chain, you could tie me to a tree, you could tie me to the foundation of a house. It will not stop me. I'm relentless. I will go.
Yeah.
But what I have learned over the past couple of years is that it's very important to go, but it's also very important to realize when to go.
Yeah.
So like that has been a huge, like you've been hearing me talk about timing cyclical markets.
Yeah.
If you go at the wrong time with the wrong strategy, you're dead. So you got to understand the timing to it. So with the academy and with those other assets, I promised a lot of people a lot of things, and there was a period of time where that noose was starting to get tightened up around my neck a little bit. And fortunately, over the past year, people are starting to realize, like a lot of the people that I originally sat down with that were solid mentors and solid coaches. A lot of people get the impression that I'm anti-mentor, I'm anti-coach. I'm not. Where I do have problems is that from the stage is given by its nature a stance of credibility.
Hmm.
If I am new and I'm sitting in the crowd, it is my right or wrong assumption that whoever is on that stage has earned that right. What you may not realize from the people sitting in the audience is a lot of the times that stage has a price tag attached to it.
Yes.
And the only thing that it takes for me to enter that stage is to pay the money. And so the credibility really gets lost there. And where the problem is that you will have a solid mentor stand on that stage. You will have a solid coach stand on that stage. And I consider the two to be very different people. The mentors are the people that are doing the business, have done the business, and they are very much in the trenches with you and you know what you're going through. I
Hmm.
consider a coach to be someone that understands the business really well, but has never really done the business.
Yeah.
And you got to say, like, you got a coach of a football team,
Hmm.
that's the best damn coach you'll ever see. And they can coach a quarterback to the end of the game, but that doesn't mean they've ever thrown a ball.
Yeah. No, I
You
agree.
got mentors, you got coaches. And the third person you will also see enter that stage, and this is the one that absolutely destroys our industry, that's the con artist.
Yeah.
And when that con artist is given the platform in that stage, it's very hard for the uneducated person sitting in the crowd to discern the difference between the three people. And one of the goals with Propelio Academy and with this shift in the industry that we're really pushing is to pivot people's mindsets from how do I say that? To I'm trying to figure out the best way to put all that together, but figure out a way that it's easy to discern the
Mhm.
mentors and coaches from the con artists.
Yeah.
And we are really in the process of putting that together right now.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're doing is the best way to do it because everybody looks good in a suit, right?
Mhm.
The lights on them, the mics on them, they sound good. They've practiced their speech 100 times. It's hard for the layperson to see the difference, right? Because you don't get to look at their balance sheet, you don't get to look at their income statement, right? They could have written $1,000 to get on stage, which is absolutely true. But what you're doing with Propelio and what you're doing with your YouTube channel and Propelio TV is you're documenting. And what that gives you with documentation is the ability to go back and look at folks, right? Oh, we spoke to him 6 months ago, 18 months ago, and you could see the evolution because con artists won't let you do that
Mhm.
because they're just gonna get up there and be one slick suit from another slick suit and have nothing to really talk about. So I
And
applaud you for what you're doing.
well, thank you. So my background on that was, I sank a lot of money into some con artists.
Yeah.
I also sank a lot of money into some genuine mentors. And what I have historically found is that the solid mentors that I have found didn't generally come from a sales pitch screaming 997, run to the back of the room right now, kill your neighbor trying to get signed up for my boot camp that is a
Yeah.
3-day upsell.
Yeah.
That is by no means across the board statement. It's just the ones that I've experienced. That was
Yeah.
nothing but love, man. Nothing but
Yeah.
love.
No, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. Let's not name anything. Let's not get sued. Yeah. But so I love what you're doing with Propelio. I think Propelio Academy is going to be it. Let's be clear. It is already a game changer
Mhm.
and will only, because once you got critical mass, which I believe you've now achieved, you have escape velocity. Those people that were kind of looking at you funny a year or two ago are like, great job. You're a genius. Yeah. You're so smart. Kind of funny.
I
Uh,
had I had several meetings with several info sales companies, and they were laughing me under the table. They were just like, "No,
yeah.
it's never gonna work."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're the bulldog. You made it happen, and you deserve credit for that. And your whole team does, frankly. But let's
Like,
step back to who is Daniel. Step back to pre-CEO, right? So you mentioned in your intro, you were in the business, you were running a company. But even go back a little bit, go back as far as you want. How do you get the fire, right? How'd you get into real estate? What was it? You bring so much passion and energy to this. You are the bulldog that can, you're not going to stop when you attach them to a foundation, but that's got to come from somewhere.
so like, were you happen to be at Whole Scale? Did you see the
I was there.
so a lot of my past, I do not directly like to talk about. Like I
That's
don't,
fine.
and the reason I don't like to talk about it is because I do not consider my past to be unique. I
Mm,
do not consider my past to be worthy of talking about because I lived within a community of my brothers and sisters, and that's what I truly mean.
hmm.
The people within my community are my brothers and sisters. All of us experience the same thing.
Right.
So me standing here speaking upon those things as though I'm unique, I don't consider that to be true. But through my evolution in business and putting myself into networks that I'm not familiar with, I began to realize that my past is different than a lot of people's. And, understanding my past would help people understand where I'm trying to go in the future. Whenever you come from a socioeconomic class where you are traditionally left without opportunity, you're left born into hopelessness.
Hmm.
There is a lot to be said about that. Like, I mean, some people just do not understand that other side, and everybody's reality is their reality. I try to condemn no one for their past, because whether they can understand it or not, their reality is their reality. Everybody's worst day is their worst day, and I cannot say my worst day is worse than yours. It's not fair to say that.
Hmm.
But when you do come from a background where you're not even in your teens yet, and you're already aware that you need a gun, you're
Mm.
already aware that you need to defend yourself, life or death situations. When you grow up in a household where you're getting hit with rolling pins, baseball bats, golf clubs, you're put into bench vices, your mind changes at a very young age. I never really got to experience a childhood, and I got to experience a lot of pain early on. And where I'm at right now with Propelio Academy is I still see my brothers and sisters in pain. I
Mm.
still see my cousins, my uncles, my brothers, I still see them enduring a lot of the things that I've had to endure in the past. And the only thing different between, those people and the other people that I've been around is their understanding of opportunity, their understanding of hope. They do not get exposed to the opportunities that others have been exposed to. And that is a big, big why behind the academy is,
Hmm.
I want to expose more people to this. So whenever I was about 19 years old, I got picked up on an aggravated robbery, and I pulled out a weapon. I robbed a Blockbuster, and an hour or two later, I'm in handcuffs and I'm sitting in county. Well, during that time, I got exposed through one book. One book kind of changed my life, and it was a book co-authored by Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump, and I do not remember the name of that book, but it gave me just thought processes
Hmm.
that had never been entered in my mind before. I've been historically tested through different mediums as fairly off the charts in regards to my intelligence. But I was not exposed to opportunities that would allow that intelligence to thrive. Well, that
Mm.
book planted a seed that I never would have expected. And whenever I got out of lockup, I was somewhere in that 19 to 20 range.
Hmm.
And I continued reading, I continued educating, I continued letting that little spore grow within my mind. And at 23 years old, I bought my very first property.
Wow.
And 2006-ish, I
Hmm.
was able to clear about 100 grand off of it.
Nice.
Within 2 years, I'll be able to turn that 100 grand into a quarter million. And then I quickly lost about 150 grand through that downward cycle of not understanding what I was doing. And I got caught in that 2008-9.
Yeah.
And while like I don't have the horror stories of others, I just started in six, only did a volume of like 2 or 3 deals between 6 to 9.
Yep.
It was that 150K loss that made me realize, hey, you're not doing this right. And I
Yeah.
dumped all the rest of my liquidity back into education.
Yeah. Well, this is what I really wanted to talk to you, because I have a particular passion about trying to not only help people like we both do, but also save them from hurting themselves.
Mhm.
And there's not very many people like you and I who invested pre '08, right? You were in '06. I started in '03. So we saw the seller's market. And then we also saw what was the Great Recession. And you walked out, with a lesson learned of 150K. I knew somebody that was worth 10 million, 8 figures, that couldn't get out of the way once the dominoes started falling, and they declared bankruptcy and lost everything.
I've heard that story times a couple dozen people,
Yeah,
and it's real.
it's real.
And a lot of those people never bounce back.
Oh, they don't, because real estate's evil then, and it's just, it just, their mindset shifts, and once you touch a hot stove, you don't go back, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But
So like when you start, sorry.
no, go ahead.
So when you start looking at a chart of investing across any asset class, you have the upward trending cycle where euphoria builds, and
Mhm.
that mindset of you can't lose money, it's always going up. That mindset of this, oh, it's going to last another year. It's going to last another year. You're failing to accept the telltale signs that the market is shifting. And at the very top, you have the point of maximum financial risk. The top is the point of maximum financial risk if you're not aware of where you're at.
Mhm.
And when you start getting hit down the other side, hopelessness, fear, all those negative emotions get attached to it. And that's unfortunate because at that point in time is the point of maximum financial gain. But so much of the sentiment has pulled away from it
Mhm.
that it leaves people bouncing at the right time to be jumping in. Like Warren Buffett said, I get greedy when people are fearful, and I get fearful when people are greedy, which is basically saying I get in the market when everybody else gets out, and I get
Yep.
out when everybody else gets in.
And let's talk about that exact quote. It's one of my favorite. I use it all the time. When you look at the market today,
Mhm.
it is I think it's easy, but let's just ask the question. I mean, is the market are people getting in, right? Is everybody getting in, and thus you personally, Daniel, are getting nervous? Or are people jumping out and you are getting greedy? Which one is it today?
I'm at the point right now where I feel like over the next 18 to 24 months, we'll see some of the market shift. I've already seen in DFW certain asset price points
Mm-hmm.
are starting to stall. Days on market are going up, months of inventory are going up. And a lot of the times it is the more affluent people that start restricting
Yes.
their money because they are already aware of what's moving forward. So you start seeing the high-end homes, those
Mm-hmm.
started stalling out a couple of years ago, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Months of inventory going up, days on market going up. And then we started seeing that pull down. Like in DFW, the high end of the market's like that million up range, like
Okay.
750,000 up over a million. You're starting to get into the 10 to 20% of the properties that are falling in that range.
Mm-hmm.
And then we started seeing it come down to that 500K price point, which is a little bit more, the 30 to 40% of the market range is now starting to get nervous. And we're still holding strong in DFW at that 250,000 and under price point, just because we are an economic hub. So many people are coming in.
Yeah.
But if you start charting that stuff and not just look at sentiment, you actually start putting home prices into charts. What you'll see is that from 78 to about 98, home prices and home affordability, rentals, as well as average income, all kind of trended in the same channel. Like none of them really stood out as being abnormal.
Mm-hmm.
But when 99 hit and you saw the reverse of Glass-Steagall, now maybe I'm making an inappropriate connection there, but reading the book Crisis Economics by Nouriel Roubini,
Mm-hmm.
he clearly states that like Glass-Steagall was the repeal of Glass-Steagall that was put in place in 1933, a big shift in investment in commercial banking happened in 99. And if you look at that as being a possible pivot in the industry, you will see from 99 to 2008 a very, very clear run of home sales. Like the
Oh.
home sales broke out of the typical technical analysis of a channel, and it just skyrocketed through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit a point of resistance when it popped in 2007-8.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're into technical analysis at all, you see it shift back the other direction, and where it started seeing support was right back at the bottom of the channel that it had historically been in for the last 20 to 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But what people may or may not realize is that since then, and I've got a lot of reasons in my mind why this has happened, and I would be willing to talk about that, is it has shot right back up.
Mm.
It has pulled away from average home incomes. It has pulled away from historical trends, and it is now hitting the same point of resistance that we met in 2008.
Wow.
So if we're looking at strictly technical analysis, we're in the exact same market that we were in 2007.
Wow.
That's what, except for one caveat.
Okay.
I see this behind you, one rental at a time.
Yeah.
There was 4 things I talked about there.
Yep.
Average income, or
Yep.
excuse me, there's 3 things: average income, average home prices, and average rentals.
Yeah.
So those were all trending together. Well, between 99 to 2008, one thing that did not happen is you did not see the average rental deviate from the average income. It
Exactly.
still stayed in line.
Yep.
Something that did happen, though, post 2008 that is unlike the first one is that the average rentals have now also pulled away from the average income.
Yes.
While it has pulled away, it has not pulled away as drastically as the average home price, but it has still pulled away from that affordability index. all things that are telling me that we would likely shift from a seller's market to a buyer's market in the next 18 to 24 months. And I have no crystal balls. I am by no means an economist. I am
Mhm.
just stating what Daniel Moore thinks.
No, and I'll just state what Mike Zuber thinks. So, like you, I was investing '03, before the crash, and the one metric that saved my butt was the affordability index.
Mhm.
Right, I watched that every month in my market of Fresno, California. And just to give you a scale, right, when I started in '03, affordability was like 51, 52, so really affordable, right? That means basically every other person could buy a house in Fresno at the time. In '08, when I did 1031 exchanges into apartments, it was 13, 12 or 13. And
Almost.
yeah, it's like nobody. It's like, who can afford this stuff? And for the record, I get nervous when it gets below 20. So like 13 was like really bad. And now today, today it is coming down, but low interest rates help, right? Because it's a payment. That's all this is a payment. You get a payment with a 3 on it. It's a lot more affordable than a payment with a 6 on it at these prices. But man, interest rates skyrocket. This game's over. But yeah,
Well,
go ahead.
I'm I will gladly stand here and say I am not a data analyst. I'm very much a sentiment person. I'm a
Mm,
visionary. But for me to speak with people, a lot of people want to hear a lot more about the data. So I have had to research what I've researched to feel like I can stand here and say what I'm seeing,
yes,
because I'm a
yes,
seer.
yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I want to just tell everybody, go out and do your own research. Like, do the
Please,
same
yes,
research that I have, because I think if you are willing to do that, you have invested enough time to realize that a lot of what I'm saying is probably going to fall within the same lines of what you come up with.
yeah. One of the big things for me, when I see a herd forming, right, that's the masses going one direction. I don't care what it is. I'm running the other way because yeah, sure that might work out, but the chances aren't good.
Hmm.
Um, so in '06, and you probably, I don't know if you remember this, but this is what happened in my market, right? People would buy contracts for dirt lots because they were going to have a house built 10 months later, and then they
Hmm.
would flip that contract at every phase as they were building, and like
Hmm.
everybody would make 20 grand. It was like nothing. So people were talking about it, and that's where the herd came and prices went and got stupid. I'd be interested to hear what I see it today as well, but with a twist. I don't see it in single family homes as much. It's really expensive, but unemployment's really low and people are savings and there's real loans. So not quite as bad. Where I see the herd again is multifamily. I mean,
That's
there
why.
is so freaking many people chasing such a small number. There's like 1/20th the quantity, but that same massive herd is going out there multifamily. It freaks me out. What do you think about that?
I believe in everything is sentiment. So
Mm-hmm.
please do not interject anything beyond sentiment. But I believe 110% you're correct. I believe asset class, the multifamily asset class is likely also in a bubble. I got mentored briefly by a man that was worth about $250 million. He took me under his wing and he gave me a lot of shifts in mindset. Like, there's been clear pieces in my life where I was around the right people that were in the right mindset to pass a mindset along to me. The mindset means more than net worth any day, because the mindset creates the net worth. But a mindset of $250 million person that built it from the ground up in real estate told me something. He said, the moment that the masses can accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, true generational wealth will not be established from there. Now, that to be said, real estate investing, historically an asset class that has been able to transition people's life. And I truly believe in that as an asset class. But more and more people are being exposed to that asset class, and they are seeking that asset class for generational wealth. And it is extremely doable with the right processes and the right thoughts put into it. But I also consider real estate investing to be a launching pad for many other things. If you're coming from a background with zero liquidity, if you're coming from a generational wealth of a generational poverty, being able to put $300,000 in your bank account is unfathomable.
All right.
So real estate investing will, in my opinion, forever be an asset class where you can drop 300,000 in your bank account, a million in your bank account, a couple million in your bank account. But let's be honest, nowadays, a couple $1 million is not generational wealth, but a couple $1 million is an extreme seed capital to allow you to move into the next business, to allow you to move into the next passion project you have, that will allow you to extend your wings and grow into the next person you want to become. And that can still also be from within real estate.
Hmm.
Once you've got $1 million there, you're able to play a totally different game.
Yes.
But when you're getting into this, you need to understand that you're going to have to bust your ass, and you're going to get a really high paying job out of it. But if you play that game well and you play that game right, you will have the opportunities that you've never seen before. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well, let's get into the nut of this. I mean, we have two guys here that clearly see that we're at the peak, if not over the peak in the market. But what I would say is, what market, right? In real estate, as you're kind of highlighting, Daniel, there's lots of different markets, right? Like for me, if the herd's over here, I'm a real estate investor. I'm going to find what's not. Is it empty office spaces? Is it, where's nobody looking? Right? Would you agree that, if it does get too hot, you just look elsewhere, you move money around, 1031 exchange? What do you do?
I'm a 10 million% believer in adapt to your market. Like I come from a mindset of abundance, and that mindset has had to transition over the years. Like I've had to learn how to adequately live within an abundance mindset. But part of an abundance mindset is the ability to look into any market, any cycle, and see how to win, and not look at it like, oh, there's too many people out there, I can't win. Just learn how to work within that model, learn how to work within that frame. So like right now, am I heavy in real estate? No, I'm not. I've got all of my thought processes in Propelio. But if I had to take a step back today at this very second, I would enter into any market, and I'd feel very comfortable with my ability to not only survive but thrive. And that's because I can get outside of the mindset of whatever it ends up being. And like if I was diving in right now, I would likely go harder on third-party tertiary markets.
Mm-hmm.
Like I believe the primary markets are saturated,
Mm-hmm.
even secondary markets are getting saturated. But if I won't see these same investing models in tertiary markets, but if I jumped into tertiary markets where there's limited competition, I can start still maintaining some of the margins that I would need to feel comfortable working in those markets. I could also jump asset classes. Like would I jump into multifamily right now? No, absolutely not. But maybe some affordable housing asset classes, maybe mobile home parks in secondary and tertiary markets where
Sure.
there's not as many people demanding on them. They're still being traded on the market at like double-digit caps, because there's not as much demand on them. But I still seeing those being things that I could buy and I could cash flow and I could afford and I could create equity on, and it would go through a downturning market because it's affordable income. I mean, it's affordable housing.
Yeah.
So I would pivot asset classes.
Oh, for sure. No question. That's what saved us. We jumped from houses that were just unaffordable to apartments, right? Kind of reverse of what's happening today. And I'm pretty open about it. I actually sold some apartment buildings for what I considered ridiculous prices and moved into houses because the numbers are better. I'm a pretty simple numbers guy. It's like, I'm unemotional. Yeah. Oh boy, I don't own an apartment building. Oh no, it's okay. I live on cash flow, not on number of units. So it's pretty
That's
funny out
awesome.
there.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that I think people need to understand is, and this goes with many different investing strategies, you can make money. One of the easiest markets to make money in is an upward trending market.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a no brainer. It's like you can make money in that, but you can also make money in a sideways market. You can make money in a downward trending market. You can make money in a tanking market. Like I could invest in '08. Like if I rewound back, I could jump in at '08 when all the prices were just tanking, and I could have still invested the entire time through. I just would have changed my strategy. And I would have stayed, even staying within the asset class, just change your strategy. Because there's really about a dozen different acquisition disposition strategies. You can get, caveats of blending some together and getting real creative, but you've really got about a dozen acquisition disposition models that you can fall within. And just understand that certain acquisition models are best for certain parts of the market cycle. Certain disposition models are best for different parts of the market cycle. And becoming a much more well-rounded investor and understanding that if I'm in the tipping point of a downward turning market, sub twos and wraps dominate right there.
Yes.
And then like I start getting towards the bottom, short sales come alive again. Like short sales are just abundant. Like if you're trying to do a bunch of short sales right now, it's like I'm barely treading water.
Right.
But like the market shifts, sub two wraps, short sale come back together at the bottom whenever the market starts getting strong again, lending starts coming back, burr becomes available again.
Yeah.
And then you flow back up the other side of the chart. Once you start moving back into an appreciating market cycle, start bringing your capital producing strategies back into play and start working towards using that liquidity to maintain your portfolio from the bottom.
Yeah.
It's a cycle.
Yeah. What I would tell you guys is stop the video right now and rewind it 3 or 4 times to let him just listen to that wisdom 1 more, 2 more times, because he just gave you the keys to the kingdom. And of course, he already has Propelio Academy. that you can go back and figure out all these different strategies. And again, watch your market. Again, seriously, stop the video, rewind it, listen to that again. That was
What
awesome.
what I just laid out in a very short term, and I did not dive in deep on, is truly a generational wealth building model. Like if you learn how to consume at the bottom as much inventory as you can through
Hmm.
leverage, that's where you should really start exposing your leverage, is at the bottom of that
Yes.
cycle. And just leverage up as much as you possibly can at the bottom through BRRRR or
Hmm.
using subject to and holding them as rentals.
Yeah.
And what you can do is, let's say you're able to just get 100 properties at the bottom of the market, and that's not an unfathomable number using
Nope.
BRRRR. That's
Yeah.
fairly doable. You ride that next appreciation wave. And then when you do start hitting the late stages of the peak, where you're starting to see days on market starting to get little bit less than what they were, take that inventory of rentals that you've already built up, and there's your flow of rehab inventory right there. It's like everybody's at the last stage of the market cycle, paying 86 cents on the dollar for flips. Like you're crazy. You're going to lose your ass at 86 cents on the dollar.
Yeah.
But you see people diving in hard on volume, saying, "Well, I'll just make up my low margins on volume." Well, no, you're about to get murdered. Well,
Exactly.
you can still participate in that market. You just buy your rehab inventory at the bottom.
Exactly. Just hold it, let appreciation happen. You're into it for 37 cents on the dollar, and you just
Right?
peel them off when available. That
And then
is
you look at that,
generational wealth. Yes.
yeah. And then now you're sitting at the top with liquidity that'll allow you to move up an asset class. Let's say multifamily pops, or
Yeah.
let's say retail strip centers and or storage. Like storage is starting to get a little bit of steam from the sidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Storage is starting to come up. But like I would be far more comfortable jumping on storage right now than I ever would be on multifamily, just because
Oh yeah.
there is still not a saturation there yet, at least not from my perspective. So
No, no.
figure out what asset class doesn't have everybody looking at it and jump on it.
Yeah. So this is awesome. That was golden right there. And so let's talk about this event in Fresno. You have, I think it's Monday, November 18th, 6 to 8 p.m. It's at 700 Van Ness Ave, obviously in Fresno. Sponsored by our boy Stratton Brown, I believe. And yeah, what are you going to be talking about there?
I will be digging in deep on market cycles. I will
Yes.
be going in and I will be defining exactly what happened historically, so that way you can kind of get it. If you fail to learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. I don't recall who said that, but it plays in true, because if you've only been in this market since, let's say, 2014, 15, you don't know anything else.
Yeah.
But in his event, I will be speaking directly on what happened historically, how that applies to us today, how you should pivot if you're staying within this class to still make money, whether we go flat or we tank. I can't tell you what's about to happen. Something's about to happen.
Yeah.
I'll explain to you what strategies are best to implement when. I will show you how that ties into the Propelio Academy, because it's all taught within the Propelio
Yeah.
Academy for free. And so it's not a sales pitch. So if you're coming out there, don't expect at the end of it me to be like, go kill your neighbor to go get a $9.97 package at the back of the room. I'll be dropping as much generational wealth that I possibly can from that stage, because one of the quotes that I have become known for is, how much would you charge to save someone's life? I've had a lot of people reaching out to me that heard me say that, and it really resonated from within them. How much would you charge to save someone's life? And I truly believe that the knowledge is the biggest barrier to opportunity. And the more people that knowledge could be put into, I could save someone's life. Like my life was saved by real estate investing. Had I not learned about real estate investing when I did, I would have either at best been stuck as a construction worker for the rest of my life, hating my life, destroying my body for someone else's gain, or B, in prison or dead. It really was one of those lives. So if the knowledge that I present to someone gives them the pivotal knowledge that they need at the point in time in their life that they need it, that they can turn around, pivot, and come out from the bottom of this and win, who am I to hold that back? Like,
Yeah.
what was Dave Chappelle said something, and it resonated with me big time. Dave Chappelle, to run the long story short, he said something along the lines of like, there is a depreciating return on wealth. There's
Mm.
a point in time in your life where your needs are met, and any more money that you receive doesn't truly change your life. Like, I'm worth $10 million right now. If I make another million this year, am I going to suddenly start living in a different house, driving a different car, eating at a different restaurant? There's a point in time where your needs are met. You have achieved what you truly are finding as comfortable from within your life. And once you've done that, anything beyond that is really nothing more than excess. Well, for me, I've already achieved a point of life that I'm comfortable with.
Nice.
I don't need to go out and flash my Lambo and be like, "Hey, man, come give me 50 grand and I'll teach you how I bought a Lambo with your 50 grand." Like I'll push forward and try and help as many people get to the next step.
Well, I look forward to being my little part of it. I love what you guys are doing with Propelio TV, Propelio Academy, the software. Watching you, listening to you, I'm going to drive up, see you in Fresno again. It's gonna be a lot of fun, Daniel. Please keep being yourself and doing what you do.
Well, thank you, man. If there's anything I can do on my side to do anything to help you, man, let me know. Like, I I truly believe in we, not me. I want I want to find out how to be a part of the next piece.
Very
I
cool.
really
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate you giving us time. Thank you. Thank you so much.
thank you so much as well, man. Thank you.
Yeah.